This is section 3.3, and we're going to perform function operations with composition. What I want you to do is on page 180 in your book, I want you to copy down the blue box. You can write the examples if you want to, but really I just want you to do the operation and the definition. And if you don't have your book, you can wait till you get to class to do that part. You won't be marked down in the notes if you don't have it. What we're going to start off is adding functions together. You guys have actually already done this, but sometimes the book just gives a different way of explaining things, and it's really no different than what we've already done. Copy this down real quick. All right, and so what the first one is telling us to do is to add these two together. And I don't want you to get confused about this f of x. Now all that's saying is take the f of x function, which is all of this, and we're going to add the g of x function, which is this. And we've done that several times before because we add like terms. So we have 4 of these x to the half exponent minus 9 of them. We're going to have negative 5 x to the 1/2. So in this case, we're going to take the 4x to the half, and we're going to subtract the the negative 9x to the half. And when we do this, it really turns into an addition problem because of the 2 negatives here. So this would be 13x to the 1/2. All right, now we have a different way of expressing it. I'm just going to write some different functions up here. Again, we have 2 of them. And let's suppose that we had f of x times g of x. So what we would do is write the f of x function, which is 6x, and then the g of x, and we're going to multiply these two together. So 6 times this whole number, which is a 1, is just 6. And we have to add our exponents here. So in your calculator, you would write 1 plus parenthesis 3 divided by 4 parenthesis. And when you get that answer, it will be a decimal, and you have to do the math under. So I get 7/4. Now let's suppose we have f of x divided by g of x. So we're going to take 6x and divide it by the x to the 3/4. Okay, 6 divided by 1 is just 6. And in this case, we're going to subtract. And we'll do that in our calculator. 1 minus parenthesis 3 divided by 4 parenthesis, and then do math, enter, and I get 1/4. Now sometimes you're going to get some questions that will say plug in a function into another one. For instance, let's say we had this for our first one. And we have this for our second. And so one of these questions will look like this. And what this is telling you is to take your function of f, so we're going to take this right here. Instead of writing an x, we're going to leave an open spot because they show you that g of x is being plugged into it. So we're going to take all of this and plug it in. And so now we do the distributive, we do the -1, which would flip it. So we have this, and then we check to see, can we take 4 and divide it by 5 without a decimal? No. And then 4 divided by 2, but I think the book actually just keeps it this simple. So I'll let you do the same thing. So we can just keep it like that and we're done. All right. And now sometimes they also will say, they'll give you a different way to plug stuff in, which you're going to follow the same way. You always look at this number right here, or this letter, and that is our function of g. So we're going to write this, but where the x is, we're going to be plugging something in there. So we'll leave that open. And as you can tell, they are plugging the function of f into it. So we're going to look over here and plug that in. Okay, now it's just a matter of simplifying this. So we really have 20x to the -1st power minus 2. And if we rewrote this to where it looked better, remember, we don't want to leave negative exponents there. So we flip that. And that would be our answer. All right, and then one last problem. Let's suppose they give you 2 functions. And they say this. So not only are we plugging a function into another function, we're also plugging in a value for x as well. So we look at the first letter here, which tells us to go to our g of x. So I'm going to write that, but instead of the x, I'll leave it open. And then I'm going to plug in my f. So I'm going to plug in that. Now instead of simplifying this, they want us to actually plug in a value for the x, which is 5. So now we go through 3 times 5 is 15. 15 minus 8 is 7. Now we go to exponents. 7 squared is 49. And then we multiply 2 and 49 together. That's 98. So these ones you'll possibly be getting whole numbers for. Let's try one more. And let's do something different than 5. We'll try 6. So we look at the first letter here, which means we get our f of x. And we leave a space open for the x. And now we're going to plug in the g. And now we're going to plug in the 6. Okay, now we work inside the parenthesis first. inside the parenthesis, we have an exponent. So I'm going to do that first. And now we multiply 2 times 36, which is 72. Now we multiply 72 by 3, which is 216. And then we subtract 8 from it, which is 208.